It's a bold claim, I know, taking on Specialized and Pinarello, but this Chinese bike brand called O'Reilly, I believe that's how you say it, have spent 3 years researching and developing this all-new UCI-approved frame called the Blies XXE, valued at 2,600 USD or 4,000 Australian dollars, which for a relatively unknown emerging Chinese bike brand is a lot of money. But there's quite a bit of compelling evidence that I'm going to share with you today, which suggests that this bike brand doesn't sit in that Winspace, Elves, Yoelio category. In fact, this Chinese bike brand has done something that I have never seen before when it comes to the emerging Chinese space. They have invested a lot of time and energy upfront into independent stiffness to weight and wind tunnel testing in the Xiamen Institute of Technology in China, and their own internal labs comparing their bike to a Pinarello F and a Specialized S-Works SL7. Data that's all available on their website and data we'll be going through in this video today. But first up, please know the deal between O'Reilly and this channel. The local Australian distributor for O'Reilly have sent this frame set, the O'Reilly cranks and wheels, which we'll get into shortly, and the Shimano Dura-Ace Di2 group set to the channel for this project, which will include a first look video, being this one, a build video at Taylor Cycles, and a long-term review between Neil Stanbury and I. After the review is completed, it's Neil's job to sell the bike secondhand, and we will split the sale proceeds, Neil and I, 50-50, so we can both be compensated for our time and energy on this particular project. So, about the company. So before we get into the product details, I wanted to shed some light on O'Reilly, the company, because I'm pretty confident most of you have probably never heard of them before. And if you go to their website, About Us, you'll see a video of their collaboration with SRM Power, which ain't really telling you much and could lead to some confusion and perhaps even some suspicion, but it does feed in nicely to the story I've been told from the Australian local distributor, whose name is Michael, about this company being very focused on research and development. That is their strength, but when it comes to sales, marketing, websites, not so much their strength. So, this is what I can tell you about O'Reilly. They launched this as their first product to market on China's National Day, which I believe is October 1st, 2021, and this is a rather grand TT/triathlon frame. So they haven't been around for a long period of time, and over the past few years, they have added wheels, cranks, bars, and now this road frame into their product catalog. An interesting sequence of delivering products to market, and it does feed back into that story of this company having a real focus on research and development, and not too much else at this stage anyway. In terms of manufacturing, they collaborate with the Carbon King factory in Xiamen, and they are actively participating in the entire production process and personally oversee each production stage. Ultimately, their goal, according to them, is to produce Grand Tour level products. And they honestly believe that this frame, the cranks, and the wheel set, which we'll go into shortly, are already just that. So let's start with the frame, which comes in 2 flavors. Their entry-level flavor, which is the Blies Standard T800 carbon layer, valued at 2,800 AUD or 1,800 USD. Or what I have right here is the Tier 1 Blies XXE T1100 carbon layer, which comes in at 2,600 USD or 4,000 AUD. Now, according to O'Reilly, they spent 3 years researching and developing this frame in conjunction with other projects. And according to them, nearly 50 people participated in the research and development of this frame, including 20 of their full-time employees. As part of their research and development phase, as we discussed at the start of the video, they tested this frame, or this bike, against a Pinarello F and a Specialized S-Works SL7, which I think we can all agree is very similar to an SL8. And what they found from a stiffness to weight perspective, and before we go through this, please note that the numbers in the stiffness data are Newton meters of torque. So the higher the number on the graph, that refers to the part of the frame handling more torque before flexing. This XXE model actually has the stiffest rear triangle, and their entry-level model is on par with the Pinarello. Shell stiffness, the XXE comes second to the Pinarello, and head tube stiffness, both the O'Reilly models sit behind Specialized and Pinarello. O'Reilly then came up with a calculation to come up with an overall stiffness to weight perspective, and for this they left out the Pinarello, which according to their website, the Pinarello is more like an aeroframe, so it is not included in the overall stiffness test results, which I found a bit confusing, but what you will note overall is the XXE model is not far off the SL7. Now, interesting to note, while O'Reilly are comparing their bike to these traditional all-round race bikes, I would probably say this bike is pushing more into that sort of super lightweight climbing Factor 02 VAM category. You see, I weighed my medium frame, which included the front and rear derailleur hanger, at 785 grams, and the uncut fork at 340 grams, total 1,125 grams, which I'm not going to quote any numbers online here, but it seems clear that this frame set would be circa 100 grams plus lighter than a Specialized and a Pinarello. Now, during the R&D phase, O'Reilly also completed some wind tunnel testing. As you can see, the Blize is faster than other all-round race bikes on average that have been tested in this facility. What those on average bikes are, we don't exactly know, and not too far off the SL7 and almost equal to, at an angle of, I believe, 20 degrees. Once again, the Pinarello was not included in that test. So all in all, the frame is made with quality material, it's got a lifetime warranty, it stacks up on stiffness, weight and wind tunnel testing against some major brands, and while that's still a solid price tag, it's still less than 50% of what you would pay for a tier 1 mainstream brand. In terms of geometry, I'm going to wait for bike fitter Neil Stanbury to give you his thoughts during the final review, and from an overall design perspective, my initial thoughts are that it's petite, it's clean, it can take 30mm tyres, and I know the guys at O'Reilly Australia currently running tyres that are measuring 32 and it's still getting clearance. And perhaps the only one noticeable or eye-catching feature up front is this seat stay connection into the top tube area. Finally, on the frame set overall setup, these integrated handlebars are included in the price tag, which are called the XXE Carbon Road Bars that weighed a total of 340 grams. That's with 110mm stem and 400 width bar. I'd say for those of you who may have heard of O'Reilly before, there's a fair chance you've heard of them, most likely due to word of mouth, purely from how lightweight these things are. I weighed mine, which is a set of 165mm cranks, and they came in at just under 285 grams, which included the spacers and the adapter. Once again, O'Reilly have been into the labs and tested their cranks from a stiffness to weight and deformation perspective, and O'Reilly have come out mostly on top against SRAM, Easton and Rotor. This crank model is called the X Novanta, I think that's how you say it, and its recommended retail is $750 USD. Or 1,199 AUD. For our build, you can add in this dual-sided X-Caddy Power Spider, which comes in at a very inexpensive 450 AUD, or that's 329 USD. And on the carbon hoops, you can see behind me here, these are the O'Reilly X46 disc brake clincher carbon hoops that are currently going through the UCI approval process. They are 46mm deep, back and front, 19mm internal width, and a 26mm outer width. Tubeless ready, of course. The spokes are carbon aero profile spokes, and the hub is their own precision CNC hubs that have enduro ceramic bearings. Total weight, according to the website, is 1,170 grams, and that is exactly what I weighed my wheels in at. Price of the wheels is 2,600 AUD or 1,700 USD for the set, which, like the frame, comes with a lifetime warranty. Now, in 2 weeks' time, we'll have this whole thing built up at Taylor Cycles. So if you've got any questions you'd like me to pose to Jay Taylor, who's the pro mechanic who's going to build this up, about these products or about building this particular bike, please drop a comment below and I'll try and incorporate it into the build video, which will come roughly a week after we get this thing built up. If you got value out of this video today, please don't forget to give it a like. Helps the channel out, greatly appreciated, and I'll catch you in the next video.